For decades I studied the minds of giants, and they all whispered the same law. You are not the victim of habit. You are the architect who forgot your blueprint. This morning, you reclaim it. Thought first, word next, action last, etched in order, repeated until your mind obeys. Napoleon Hill proved the invisible becomes inevitable when you speak with faith, emotion, and the disciplined pause between breaths. Stand tall. Declare who you are before the day defines you, because identity drives behavior, and behavior carves destiny. Say these words daily and aloud, and watch old chains rust, new pathways spark, and your life turn from drift to command. You were trained to obey the clock, not your purpose. That is noise. The law is simple. Dominant thought plus directed word plus daily repetition equals new habit. Morning is not coffee. Morning is command. What you say when you wake governs what you do when night falls. You have been lied to about discipline. They told you it requires willpower, that it depends on feeling ready, that motivation must arrive first. But I tell you this without apology. The man who waits to feel ready will never move. The woman who depends on inspiration will never build. Discipline is not a feeling. It is a decision made visible through repetition. It is law obeyed before the world wakes. It is the voice you use when no one is listening, the posture you hold when no one is watching, the command you give yourself in the mirror before the sun has broken the horizon. This is not philosophy. This is mechanics. This is the architecture of transformation. You are about to receive a system, not a suggestion, not a theory, a system with measurements, with cycles, with accountability built into its bones. You will learn 6 movements of thought and action. First, the law of definite purpose, because without a target, your words are wind. Second, the principle of autosuggestion, because the brain receives orders through the ear and the subconscious does not argue with repetition. Third, the decision that burns bridges, because habit cannot change while escape routes remain open. Fourth, the rhythm of daily execution, because what you repeat becomes who you are. Fifth, the power of mastermind alliance and strategic silence, because mental force multiplies in harmony and deepens in stillness. Sixth, the law of service through value, because gold chases understanding and wealth obeys the man who solves real pain. After these movements, you will receive the ritual itself, a measured practice with morning anchors, mirror work, silence protocols, and a cycle of 30, 60, and 90 days with metrics you can audit. You will close with a sworn commitment and a single action to execute within 24 hours. No retreat, no negotiation, only law in motion. Let us begin. The mind without a definite chief aim is a ship without a rudder. It drifts. It reacts. It serves the agenda of whoever shouts loudest. You wake, you check the device, you scroll, you respond, you react, and by noon you have given your best hours to the priorities of strangers. This is not freedom. This is servitude dressed in convenience. The first movement of power is the establishment of a single, definite, written purpose. Not a wish, not a vague intention. A purpose so clear that a child could repeat it, so definite that it leaves no room for confusion, so personal that it ignites emotion when spoken aloud. Andrew Carnegie understood this law before he built his empire of steel. He demanded clarity from every man in his circle. He would not invest time, energy, or money into vague ideas. If you could not state your aim in one sentence, you were not ready. If you hesitated when asked what you wanted, you were dismissed. Carnegie knew what most men never learn. The universe does not respond to complexity. It responds to clarity. It bends toward the definite and retreats from the uncertain. Write your definite chief aim in one sentence. Not tomorrow. Now. State what you intend to become, what you intend to build, what you intend to command. Make it singular. Make it measurable. Make it emotional. This is not a goal for the year. This is the lens through which every decision will pass. This is the filter that will kill distraction and amplify action. Once written, you must speak it aloud every morning before the world has a chance to speak to you. Stand. Face the mirror. Look into your own eyes. Read the sentence with your full voice, not a whisper, not a mumble, a declaration. The subconscious mind listens to tone as much as content. Hesitation registers as doubt. Confidence registers as command. You are programming the most powerful instrument in existence, and it will obey what you repeat with emotion. This is not mysticism. This is biology. The reticular activating system in your brain filters millions of inputs every second, and it prioritizes whatever you have marked as important. When you speak your aim with clarity and feeling, you are marking it. You are telling your nervous system, this matters. Find it. Build it. Move toward it. Do you understand the gravity of this? Most men live their entire lives without ever stating what they want. They operate in the fog of should and maybe and someday. They drift from paycheck to paycheck, from weekend to weekend, from distraction to distraction, and they call it living. But it is not living. It is sleeping with open eyes. The first act of awakening is the declaration of aim. Speak it, write it, own it, say it now, even if no one hears. I am definite and directed. My purpose is clear. My word is law. That is the foundation. Without it, nothing else will hold. With it, everything begins to align. Opportunities you never noticed will appear. People you need will cross your path. Ideas will arrive in the shower, in traffic, in the moment before sleep. Why? Because you have given your mind a command, and it is now searching for the materials to fulfill it. The world does not change, your attention does. And attention is the currency of creation. Now let us move to the second law. Words are not decoration. Words are tools. When spoken with intention, with emotion, with repetition, they carve pathways in the subconscious mind. This is the principle of autosuggestion. The term sounds technical, but the mechanism is ancient. The brain listens to what the mouth says. The body obeys what the brain believes. If you wake and say, I am tired, the body responds with fatigue. If you say, I am uncertain, the mind responds with hesitation. If you say, I am broke, the circumstances respond with scarcity. But if you say, I am powerful, I am certain, I am building wealth, and you say it with conviction, the entire system begins to reorganize around that identity. The subconscious does not evaluate truth. It accepts repetition. It does not ask for proof. It builds proof from the blueprint you provide. Thomas Edison understood this law. He did not wait for evidence before declaring success. He repeated his vision of electric light to himself and to his team long before the filament worked. He spoke as if the light already existed, and his subconscious went to work making the declaration real. 10,000 attempts did not break him because his inner speech never wavered. The world saw failure. Edison saw refinement. The difference was not intelligence. It was the language he used with himself. You must now build your own language of power. This is not affirmation for the sake of feeling good. This is instruction. This is command. You will create 11 statements aligned with your definite chief aim. Each statement will describe who you are becoming, what you believe, what you command, and what you are building. These are not wishes. These are decrees. Write them in the present tense, in the first person, with active verbs. Not I will become. Say I am. Not I hope to build. Say I build. Not I want to command. Say I command. Each morning, stand before the mirror. Look yourself in the eye. Speak each of the 11 statements aloud 3 times. Say them with volume. Say them with rhythm. Say them with your spine straight and your shoulders back. This is not performance. This is programming. The mirror forces accountability. You cannot hide from your own gaze. You cannot mumble and call it commitment. The reflection will show you whether you believe what you are saying, and if you do not believe it yet, you will repeat it until you do. Belief is not a prerequisite for repetition. Repetition is the mechanism by which belief is manufactured. The feeling follows the action. The conviction follows the discipline. Listen carefully. you will encounter resistance. The voice in your head will say, "This is silly, this is pointless, this is not working." That voice is not wisdom. That voice is the old identity defending its territory. It knows that if you persist, it will be replaced. And so it will argue, mock, distract, and discourage. You must not negotiate with that voice. You must override it with volume, with consistency, with the authority of decision. Speak your 11 lines. Speak them again. Speak them until the resistance fades. Speak them until your voice carries certainty. Speak them until the words feel like truth. This will take days, perhaps weeks, but the shift will come. One morning you will speak the lines and feel something different, a stirring, a knowing, a quiet fire. That is the moment the subconscious has accepted the new instruction. That is the moment the old self begins to die, and the new self begins to breathe. Let me give you an example of these lines, not for you to copy, but to show you the structure. I am the master of my belief. I speak what I am becoming. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. My habits build ownership, not dependence. I govern my mind, and my mind governs my world. I act while others wait. My speed creates my freedom. I command wealth by wisdom. I sow understanding and reap gold. I walk in faith and act without fear. Nothing is impossible to me because I believe without retreat. I am definite and directed. My word is law. Do you hear the rhythm? Do you feel the authority? These are not requests. These are claims. And when spoken with emotion, with posture, with repetition, they become the operating system of the mind. Your 11 lines may differ. They must differ because they must serve your definite chief aim. But the structure remains present tense, first person, active, emotional, repeated. This is how the wealthy think. This is how builders speak. This is how leaders command, not once, daily, not when inspired. Regardless, the ritual does not depend on mood. It creates mood. It does not wait for confidence. It manufactures confidence. The man who speaks power every morning becomes powerful by afternoon. The woman who declares wealth every dawn finds wealth by dusk. This is not magic. This is law. And law does not bend for doubt. It bends for obedience. Now ask yourself, what am I currently saying to myself each day? What is the dominant tone of my inner dialogue? Is it complaint? Is it fear? Is it uncertainty? If so, you are programming poverty. You are instructing your subconscious to build failure. But you can stop. You can choose new words. You can rewrite the script. And the time to begin is not when you feel ready. The time to begin is now, before the old voice has a chance to wake. Stand, speak, command. I speak what I become. My voice is my blueprint. My repetition is my power. That is the second movement. Words are not passive. They are causative. And you are about to take command of the most powerful word generator in existence, your own mouth. The third movement is the decision that burns bridges. Change does not happen in comfort. It happens in commitment, and commitment is only real when retreat becomes impossible. Most men declare change on Monday and abandon it by Wednesday because the escape route remains open. The distraction is still installed. The toxic friend is still on speed dial. The excuse is still rehearsed and ready. True transformation requires the elimination of exits. You must make it harder to quit than to continue. You must remove the easy path back to the old life. John D. Rockefeller was known for his ruthless clarity. When he decided on a direction, he did not hedge. He did not keep backup plans. He moved with full force in one direction, and the market had no choice but to respond. He understood that divided energy produces divided results. A man who keeps one foot in the old world and one foot in the new will be torn apart by the tension. You cannot serve two identities. You cannot obey two masters. You must choose who you are becoming and cut off the supply lines to who you were. Let me make this practical. Identify the single greatest distraction in your life, the one that steals hours, that fragments attention, that keeps you from your definite chief aim. It might be a platform. It might be a person. It might be a pattern. Name it, then remove it. Not later, today. Delete the application. Block the number. Cancel the subscription. Give the password to someone you trust and tell them not to return it for 90 days. Make the act irreversible. Why? Because decision is only decision when the door is locked. Until then, it is merely intention, and intention without action is delusion. The man who says he will change tomorrow is the same man who said it yesterday. The woman who waits for the perfect moment will wait forever, because perfection is the language of delay. You do not need perfect conditions. You need one definite act that closes the old chapter. Burn the bridge, lock the gate, cut the line, then walk forward with nowhere to return. This will feel violent. It should. You are ending a relationship with comfort. You are severing a dependency. The old self will scream. It will promise that you can manage it, that you can moderate, that you can control it this time. Do not listen. The addict cannot moderate the substance. The drifter cannot manage distraction. The servant cannot negotiate with servitude. You must eliminate the option. Rockefeller did not dabble in competitors' markets. Edison did not split his attention between light and a dozen other inventions. Ford did not half commit to the assembly line. They decided. They moved. They burned the bridges behind them. And because retreat was impossible, success became inevitable. You must do the same. Choose one definite chief aim. Speak it daily. Then remove everything that contradicts it. This is the law of singleness of purpose. This is the path of power. And it is walked not by the cautious, but by the committed. Now affirm with full voice, I do not wait for freedom, I build it now. I eliminate what weakens me. I burn the bridge and walk forward. My decision is final. My action is immediate. My commitment is absolute. Say it until your hands stop shaking. Say it until your breath steadies. Say it until you believe it. Then act. Choose the one distraction. Remove it today. Before sunset. Before dinner. Before sleep. No negotiation. No delay. Only law in motion. That is the third movement. Decision without action is noise. Action without elimination is half measure. But decision plus elimination equals transformation. And transformation is not comfortable. It is necessary. The fourth movement is the law of rhythm. Repetition creates grooves. Grooves create habits. Habits create identity. Identity creates destiny. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your system is nothing more than what you repeat when no one is watching. Henry Ford did not build the greatest manufacturing empire by accident. He built it by repetition of process. Every step was measured. Every motion was timed. Every worker knew the rhythm. The assembly line was not innovation for the sake of novelty. It was rhythm applied to production. And rhythm, when consistent, multiplies output beyond what talent or effort alone could achieve. The same law governs your life. If your mornings are chaotic, your days will be chaotic. If your evenings are reactive, your progress will be reactive. But if you establish a rhythm, a set of non-negotiable actions performed at the same time every day, then momentum builds. The subconscious begins to anticipate. The body begins to cooperate. Resistance fades. And what once required immense willpower becomes automatic. You must now design your daily rhythm, not your ideal day when everything goes perfectly. Your actual day, with real constraints, real responsibilities, real friction. Identify 4 fixed blocks. First, morning command. This is your mirror work, your 11 lines, your silence, your writing of the definite chief aim. Duration, 6 to 8 minutes. Non-negotiable. Before the device, before the inbox, before the world. Second, high-value action. This is the single most important task of your day, the one that moves your definite chief aim forward. Duration, 60 to 90 minutes. Uninterrupted. No meetings, no messages, no multitasking. This block happens before 9 in the morning, while your decision-making capacity is fresh. Third, silence and review. 5 minutes of intentional stillness, eyes closed, breathing slow, attention on your aim, no music, no input, just presence. This happens at midday, after the high-value block, to reset focus and eliminate drift. Fourth, evening anchor. Rewrite your definite chief aim. Speak your 11 lines again, though fewer repetitions are acceptable at night. Review the day. Mark whether you executed the rhythm. Then rest. This is not a suggestion. This is architecture. These 4 blocks are the skeleton of your transformation. Everything else can flex. These cannot. How do you protect these blocks? You schedule them as if they were meetings with the most important person in your world, because they are. You are meeting with the person you are becoming. You guard these blocks with the same ferocity you would guard a child. You do not negotiate. You do not reschedule for convenience. You do not skip because you are tired. The rhythm does not care about your mood. It cares about your commitment. And commitment is proven not by declaration, but by daily execution. If you execute the rhythm 80% of the time in a given week, you are winning. 90%, you are dominating. 100%, you are unstoppable. But 0%, even with the best intentions, is still 0. The world rewards execution, not explanation. It crowns the man who shows up, not the man who meant to. Here is what will happen. In the first 7 days, the rhythm will feel awkward. Your body will resist. Your schedule will seem to conspire against you. You will wake late. You will forget. You will rationalize skipping. This is normal. This is the old identity making its final stand. Do not quit. Adjust the time if necessary, but do not abandon the blocks. By day 14, the rhythm will feel less foreign. You will begin to anticipate it. The mirror work will take less willpower. The high-value block will feel more natural. By day 30, the rhythm will feel like home. You will notice when it is missing. You will crave the structure. And by day 90, the rhythm will be invisible. It will simply be who you are. People will ask how you are so disciplined, and you will not know how to answer, because you will have forgotten what it felt like to live without it. That is the law of cosmic habit force. That is the power of rhythm. It transforms effort into ease. It turns decision into default, and it makes the impossible inevitable. Affirm now. Each day I act in obedience. Each day I prove who I am. My rhythm is my law. My consistency is my crown. Daily discipline, daily proof. Say it with your spine straight. Say it with your eyes forward. Say it until you feel the weight of it. Then build the rhythm. Tomorrow morning, execute block 1, then block 2, then block 3, then block 4, and repeat. Not until you feel like it. Not until it is convenient. Until it is complete. That is the 4th movement. Rhythm is government of time, and time, when governed, bends toward your aim. The 5th movement is the law of multiplied mental force and strategic silence. You have been taught to work alone, to guard your ideas, to trust no one. This is poverty thinking. The man who believes he must do everything himself will always be limited by the ceiling of his own capacity. But the man who understands the mastermind principle, who aligns his mind with other definite minds in harmony, discovers a force greater than the sum of its parts. When 2 or more people come together with a common definite aim, a third mind is born. Not metaphorically, literally. The alliance creates a frequency, an energy, a current of thought that neither person could generate alone. This is not collaboration for the sake of networking. This is not partnership for the sake of politeness. This is the strategic fusion of mental power for the purpose of accelerated achievement. Abraham Lincoln governed a nation torn in half. He did not do it alone. He surrounded himself with men of opposing views, men who challenged him, men who forced him to sharpen his thinking. His cabinet was not filled with friends. It was filled with minds. And from that alliance of intellect and conviction, decisions emerged that no single man could have produced. This is the mastermind in action. not agreement for comfort, but harmony for power. You must now build your own mastermind alliance. Find one person, perhaps two, who share your hunger, who believe in definite purpose, who are moving toward their own clear aim. These are not people who will simply cheer for you. These are people who will hold you accountable, who will ask the hard questions, who will refuse to let you drift. Meet weekly, 30 minutes, fixed time, fixed agenda. Each person speaks their definite chief aim. Each person reports their wins from the past 7 days. Each person names the obstacle they are facing. Each person makes a public commitment for the week ahead. No casual conversation, no complaints, no gossip. The mastermind is not a social event. It is a meeting of generals reviewing the battlefield. You speak only of movement, of law, of execution. And when someone speaks doubt, the others do not coddle. They confront. They remind. They redirect. This is love through accountability. This is alliance through truth. But there is another force, quieter and equally powerful, that most men ignore. It is the force of intentional silence. The world is noise. It is headlines, notifications, opinions, arguments, advertisements, all screaming for your attention, all pulling you away from your aim. If you do not build silence into your rhythm, the noise will program you. It will fill your subconscious with anxiety, with comparison, with distraction. Strategic silence is not meditation for relaxation. It is silence for recalibration. It is the deliberate withdrawal of input so that the inner voice can speak. 5 minutes of silence after your morning mirror work allows the affirmations to settle. 5 minutes of silence at midday allows your aim to resurface above the clutter of tasks. This is not wasted time. This is the most productive 5 minutes of your day because it is the time when clarity returns, when focus sharpens, when the signal cuts through the static. Here is how you practice it. Sit. Close your eyes. Breathe through your nose, slow and deep. 4 counts in. Hold for 4. 4 counts out. Hold for 4. Do not chase thoughts. Do not fight them. Simply return your attention to the breath, to the body, to the present moment. If your mind wanders to tasks, acknowledge it and return. If it wanders to worry, acknowledge it and return. The goal is not to empty the mind. The goal is to train attention. Attention is the rudder. Where it goes, energy follows. And energy, when focused, becomes force. After 5 minutes, open your eyes. Speak one line from your definite chief aim aloud. Then move into action. The silence prepares the soil. The affirmation plants the seed. The action waters it. And the harvest comes not from one practice, but from the rhythm of all 3 repeated daily without fail. Why does this matter? Because the man who cannot sit in silence for 5 minutes cannot control his own mind. And the man who cannot control his mind will always be controlled by circumstances. You must master stillness before you can master movement. You must govern attention before you can govern results. The wealthy understand this. They are not busier than the poor. They are more focused. They do not do more things. They do fewer things with greater intensity. And that intensity is born in silence, refined in alliance, and executed with rhythm. So I say to you now, do not skip the silence. Do not dismiss it as spiritual fluff. It is the chamber where the subconscious speaks, where intuition rises, where the next right action reveals itself. 5 minutes, daily, non-negotiable. Guard it as you would guard gold, because it produces gold. Now affirm, I govern myself. The rest aligns. My alliance multiplies my force. My silence sharpens my aim. I master self. Results follow. Speak it with calm authority, not shouted, not rushed, spoken as law, as fact, as the way things are. Then act. This week, reach out to one person who shares your commitment to growth. Propose a weekly mastermind call. 30 minutes. Fixed agenda. No drift. And tomorrow, add 5 minutes of silence to your morning rhythm, after your mirror work, before your high-value block. Sit, breathe, return attention to breath, then rise and execute. That is the fifth movement. Power multiplies in alliance and deepens in stillness. The man who walks alone may move fast, but the man who walks in harmony moves far. And the man who pauses in silence moves with precision. The sixth movement is the law of service through value. Gold does not chase effort. Gold chases understanding. You have been taught to trade hours for dollars, to sell your time, to measure worth by how long you worked. This is the thinking of the employee, not the builder. The employee is paid for presence, the builder is paid for impact. The employee asks, "How much will you pay me?" The builder asks, "What problem can I solve that people will pay to have removed?" This distinction is everything. King Solomon, the wealthiest man of his age, did not ask for riches. He asked for understanding. And because he sought wisdom, wealth followed, not by accident, by law. The universe rewards the man who provides value. It rewards the woman who solves real pain. It does not reward effort. It does not reward hours. It rewards results that matter to others. You must now shift your thinking from time selling to value building. What pain exists in your market that you can alleviate? What problem do people complain about that you can solve? What gap exists between where people are and where they want to be? And can you build the bridge? These are not rhetorical questions. These are diagnostic questions. And the answers will reveal the path to wealth. Most men never ask these questions. They simply show up, do the tasks, collect the check, and wonder why they remain poor. They are poor because they are not thinking like builders. They are thinking like tools. A tool is rented by the hour. A system is bought for the value it delivers. You must become the system. Here is the practical application. Today, list 3 problems that people in your industry complain about regularly. Not vague problems, specific, painful, recurring problems. Then choose one, the one you are best positioned to solve. Then deliver a solution, not a proposal, a solution. Build the template. Write the checklist. Record the training. Create the tool. Then give it away to 3 people who need it. Do not charge, not yet. You are testing. You are refining. You are proving that you can deliver value. And when those 3 people tell you it worked, when they ask for more, when they tell their friends, that is when you have product market fit. That is when you have leverage. That is when you stop trading time and start trading value. And value, when packaged into a system, can be sold once and delivered infinitely. That is how wealth scales. That is how the poor man becomes the rich man, not by working harder, by thinking differently. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. A man works as a project manager. He notices that every project is delayed by miscommunication between teams. So he builds a simple dashboard, a single page that tracks who owns what is blocked, and what is due next. He builds it in 2 hours using free tools. He shares it with his team. The delays decrease. His manager notices. Other teams ask for it. He refines it. He documents how to use it. He packages it. 6 months later, he is selling that dashboard as a subscription to 50 companies. He is no longer trading hours. He is trading a system he built once. His income is no longer capped by his time. It is capped only by the number of people who have the problem. That is the law of service through value. That is the shift from labor to leverage. Now ask yourself, what do I already know how to do that others struggle with? What question do people ask me repeatedly? What process have I refined that others are still fumbling through? The answer to that question is your first system, your first asset, your first step toward ownership. Do not wait until you have permission. Do not wait until you have a brand. Do not wait until you feel ready. Build the thing, test it, refine it, give it away until it works, then sell it. This is not theory. This is the path every builder has walked. Carnegie did not start with steel mills. He started with understanding how to organize men and materials. Ford did not start with factories. He started with the understanding of process. Rockefeller did not start with oil refineries. He started with understanding how to control distribution. They saw problems, they built solutions, they delivered value, and wealth obeyed. Affirm now, I command wealth by wisdom. I sow understanding and reap gold. I do not sell hours. I deliver value. My service solves pain. My systems scale impact. Say it until you feel the shift. Say it until the language of time selling feels foreign. Say it until you see yourself as a builder, not a tool. Then act. Today, before the sun sets, write down 3 problems your market complains about. Choose one. Build one small, concrete solution, a template, a checklist, a script, a framework. Then deliver it to one person who needs it. Do not charge. Just deliver. Prove that you can solve pain. That proof is the seed. Water it with repetition, and wealth will grow from it. That is the 6th movement. Value is the currency of the wealthy. Time is the currency of the poor. Choose which economy you will live in. Choose today. Now we arrive at the center, the ritual. The place where philosophy becomes practice, where principle becomes motion, where law becomes life. You have received 6 movements of thought: definite purpose, auto-suggestion, decision that burns bridges, rhythm of execution, mastermind and silence, service through value. These are not separate ideas. They are a single system, and the ritual is the daily practice that fuses them into identity. This is not optional. This is not for when you feel inspired. This is the architecture of transformation, and you will execute it every day for the next 90 days without exception, without excuse, without negotiation. The ritual has 8 components, and each component has a time, a posture, a purpose. I will walk you through each one, not as instruction, but as experience. Close your eyes if you are able. Imagine yourself in the scene I am about to describe. You will feel this before you do this, and feeling precedes doing. It is 5:30 in the morning. The world is still dark. The house is silent. You rise not because an alarm forced you, but because you decided the night before that this is your time, your hour, your command. You do not check the device. You do not scroll. You do not allow the world to speak first. You walk to the mirror. It does not matter if it is the bathroom mirror, the bedroom mirror, the hallway mirror. What matters is that you can see your own eyes. You stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Your spine is straight. Your shoulders are back. Your chin is level. You take one deep breath in through the nose, slow, filling the belly first, then the chest. Hold it for a count of 4, then release through the mouth, steady and controlled. You do this twice more. 3 breaths total. You are not preparing to perform. You are preparing to command. Now you speak. Your voice is firm but not shouted. It is the voice of a man who knows, not a man who hopes. You speak your definite chief aim first. 1 sentence. The sentence you wrote. The sentence that contains your singular purpose. You speak it once, clearly, looking directly into your own eyes. Then you speak the first of your 11 lines. You say it 3 times. The first time, you are announcing it. The second time, you are confirming it. The third time, you are sealing it. You do not rush. You do not mumble. Each repetition is deliberate. You move to the second line 3 times, then the third, then the fourth. You continue until all 11 lines have been spoken 3 times each. Your face may feel warm. Your chest may feel tight. This is the subconscious resisting the new identity. Do not stop. Speak through it. By the 7th line, your voice will steady. By the 10th line, you will feel something shift. By the 11th line, you will feel the weight of law. This is not affirmation. This is installation. You are writing code into the operating system of your mind. When the final line leaves your lips, you remain standing. You do not immediately turn away. You hold your own gaze for 3 more seconds. This is the moment of covenant. You are looking at the man who will execute what was just spoken. You nod once, not to anyone else, to yourself. Then you step back from the mirror. The second component begins, Silence. You move to a chair or you remain standing if you prefer, but you close your eyes. You set a timer if necessary, but you do not look at it once it starts. 5 minutes, no music, no sounds, no guided voice, just you and the stillness. You breathe through your nose, in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. This is box breathing, the rhythm used by soldiers before combat, by surgeons before incision, by leaders before decision. It calms the nervous system. It sharpens the mind. It creates space between stimulus and response. And in that space, clarity lives. During these 5 minutes, your mind will wander. Thoughts will arise. Tasks will call. Worries will surface. Do not fight them. Notice them. Then return your attention to the breath. In, hold, out, hold. The goal is not to achieve some transcendent state. The goal is to train your attention to return when it drifts. Because if you can return your attention in silence, you can return it in chaos. If you can govern your mind in stillness, you can govern it in storm. After 5 minutes, the timer sounds or your internal clock signals completion. You open your eyes slowly. You take one final deep breath. Then you speak one line from your definite chief aim aloud. Just one, quietly. A reminder, a reset, a reaffirmation that this silence was not escape. It was preparation. The third component is writing. You take a notebook, not a device, and you write your definite chief aim again, by hand, one sentence, the same sentence you spoke in the mirror. Then beneath it, you write 3 bullets, not tasks, not to-dos, 3 actions that serve your aim, 3 movements that build toward it. These are not the urgent items from your inbox. These are the important items from your vision. One of these 3 will become your high-value action for the day. The other 2 will wait, but they are written, they are visible, they are not forgotten. This writing takes no more than 2 minutes, but those 2 minutes anchor the day. They translate the spoken word into visible form. They give the subconscious a map, and the subconscious, when given a clear map, begins to navigate without being told. Now, the fourth component, action. High-value action. You have written 3 possible moves. You choose one, the one that requires the most courage, the most focus, the most impact. This is not email. This is not busy work. This is the task that moves your definite chief aim forward in a measurable way. You set a timer for 60 minutes. You close every tab, every application, every distraction. You silence the phone or leave it in another room. Then you work, not casually, not half-committed. You work with the intensity of a man who knows this hour is sacred, who knows this hour is the difference between progress and drift. You do not stop to check messages. You do not pause to research tangents. You execute the one task with full force, and when the 60 minutes end, you will have produced something real, a draft, a prototype, a framework, a piece of the system. Something that did not exist 60 minutes ago now exists. That is power. That is leverage. That is the difference between the dreamer and the builder. Some days the work will flow. Other days it will feel like pushing stone uphill. The quality of the feeling does not matter. The quality of the execution does. You show up. You set the timer. You work. The subconscious is watching. It is learning that you are serious. It is learning that this is not a phase. And over time, it will begin to cooperate. Ideas will come faster. Resistance will fade. The work will require less willpower because it will have become identity. But that transformation only happens if you execute the hour, every day, without exception. This is the block that separates the successful from the stalled. Most men plan, few execute, and of those who execute, even fewer execute before the distractions arrive. You will be one of the few, not because you are special, because you decided to be disciplined. The fifth component is system building. Once per week, you dedicate 1 hour to building a microsystem. A microsystem is a repeatable process that converts your time into an asset. It is a checklist that ensures quality. It is a template that eliminates reinvention. It is a script that handles objections. It is a tracking sheet that reveals patterns. These are not complex. They are simple, clear, and usable. The goal is to build one per week. By the end of 12 weeks, you will have 12 systems, and those 12 systems will allow you to do in 1 hour what used to take 4. They will allow you to delegate with confidence. They will allow you to scale without chaos. This is how you stop trading time and start trading value. You build the system once, you use it forever, and eventually you teach it, sell it, or license it. This is ownership. This is the path from labor to leverage. Let me show you what this looks like. A woman runs a small consulting practice. Every client call feels chaotic because she never knows what questions to ask, what information to gather, what next steps to propose. So she dedicates 1 hour on a Sunday morning to building a system. She writes a simple intake form, 10 questions, nothing fancy. Then she writes a call outline, 5 sections, introduction, discovery, recommendation, objections, commitment. She tests it on her next 3 calls. It works. The calls feel smoother. She feels more confident. The clients feel more understood. She refines the system. She shares it with a colleague who asks how she is so organized. The colleague offers to pay for it. She packages it. She sells it to 5 others in her industry for $50 each. That system, built in 1 hour, now generates passive income. And more importantly, it freed her attention to build the next system. This is the compounding effect of microsystems. Each one creates space, and space, when used wisely, creates more systems. And more systems create freedom. The 6th component is the mastermind meeting. Once per week, 30 minutes. You and 1 or 2 others who share your commitment. You meet at the same time every week. You do not cancel. You do not reschedule. You show up. The structure is simple. Each person speaks for 10 minutes. They state their definite chief aim. They report their wins from the past 7 days. They name the obstacle they are facing. They make a public commitment for the week ahead. No advice unless requested, no judgment, no empty encouragement, just truth, just accountability, just presence. This is not therapy. This is not venting. This is a meeting of builders reviewing progress, and the power of the mastermind is not in the content of the conversation. It is in the fact that the conversation happens at all. Knowing that you will report your progress to someone else changes how you execute during the week. Knowing that you will have to name your obstacle out loud forces you to clarify it. And knowing that someone else is fighting the same fight, walking the same path, refusing to quit, that knowledge alone is fuel when your own tank is empty. I will tell you a story. 2 men, both in their early 30s, both stuck in jobs they hated, both with a vision of something more but no clear plan to get there. They met by chance at a workshop. They exchanged information. One of them proposed a weekly call. 30 minutes. Every Monday at 6 in the morning, the other agreed. For the first month, the calls felt awkward. They did not know each other well. They did not know what to say, but they showed up. By the second month, the rhythm had formed. They each began to see patterns in their own behavior. One of them noticed he always had an excuse for why he had not executed his high-value action. The other called him on it, not harshly, but clearly. That confrontation was the turning point. The man with the excuses stopped making them. He started executing. Within 90 days, he had left his job and launched his first offer. The other man, inspired by the first man's courage, did the same 3 months later. Neither of them would have moved without the alliance. They needed the mirror of accountability. They needed the fire of another committed mind. That is the mastermind. That is the force that multiplies power. The 7th component is measurement. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Every evening, before you rewrite your definite chief aim, you mark the day. Did you execute the morning ritual? Yes or no? Did you complete the high-value action? Yes or no? Did you protect the silence? Yes or no? You do not judge. You simply record. You keep this record visible. A calendar on the wall, a journal on the desk, a tracker on the fridge. Somewhere you will see it every day. And at the end of each week, you calculate your percentage. If you executed the rhythm 5 out of 7 days, that is 71%. If you executed 6 out of 7, that is 86%. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is consistency above 80%, because 80% sustained over 12 weeks will transform your life. 100% is admirable but not necessary. 50% is drift. 0% is surrender. You are aiming for the range where momentum builds, where the subconscious begins to believe, where identity begins to shift, and that range is 80 to 90%. Now let us speak of the cycles. You are not executing this ritual in a vacuum. You are executing it within a structure of time. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. These are not arbitrary. These are the natural rhythms of transformation. The first 30 days are about survival. You are establishing the rhythm. You are overcoming resistance. You are proving to yourself that you can show up. The goal in this phase is simple. Do not break the chain. Execute the morning ritual every day. Complete the high-value action at least 5 days per week. Attend the mastermind meeting. Build one microsystem. That is all. Do not expect results. Do not look for external validation. You are building the foundation, and foundations are invisible, but they are essential. At the end of 30 days, you will not feel transformed. You will feel tired. You will feel uncertain. This is normal. Do not quit. The harvest is not in the first month. The harvest is in the compound. The second 30 days, days 31 through 60, are about depth. The rhythm is now familiar. The resistance has decreased. Now you refine. You deepen the quality of your execution. The mirror work becomes more emotional. The silence becomes more focused. The high-value action becomes more strategic. You begin to see patterns. You begin to notice what works and what does not. You adjust. You optimize. You build the second, third, and fourth microsystems. You expand the mastermind or deepen the existing one. This is the phase where confidence begins to emerge, not because the external world has changed dramatically, but because you have proven to yourself that you can sustain commitment. And that proof is worth more than any external result. By day 60, people will begin to notice something different about you. They will not be able to name it, but they will sense it. Your speech will be clearer. Your posture will be stronger. Your decisions will be faster. This is identity beginning to be solidify. The third 30 days, days 61 through 90, are about scale. The rhythm is now automatic. The resistance is now minimal. You are no longer thinking about whether you will execute the ritual. You are thinking about how you will expand the results. You begin to delegate. You begin to teach. You begin to monetize the systems you have built. You increase the difficulty of your high-value actions. You take on larger problems. You build more complex solutions. This is the phase where external results begin to match internal transformation. Income increases. Opportunities appear. People reach out. Doors open. Not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because you have become a different person. You have become the person who commands results, and the world responds to command. By day 90, you will look back at day 1 and barely recognize the person you were. The transformation will not feel gradual. It will feel sudden, even though it was built one day at a time, one decision at a time, one repetition at a time. But let me speak plainly about what you will face. There will be days when you do not want to stand at the mirror. There will be mornings when the bed feels warmer than your purpose. There will be weeks when the high-value action feels pointless because you cannot yet see the result. These are not signs that the system is broken. These are signs that the old identity is fighting for survival. And You must not negotiate with it. You must override it with discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is love. It is the love of the future self for the present self. It is the decision to act in alignment with who you are becoming, not in reaction to how you currently feel. Feelings are weather. They change. Identity is climate. It is built over time. And you are building it now, one ritual at a time. Let me tell you about a man who almost quit. He was 42 years old. He had spent 20 years in a job that drained him. He began the ritual with hope. He executed it for 18 days straight. Then he missed a day, then another. By day 23, he had convinced himself it was not working. He told his mastermind partner he was done. The partner did not argue. The partner simply asked one question: what did you expect to happen by day 23? The man had no answer. He realized he had been expecting magic. He had been expecting the world to change without him having to endure the discomfort of change. The partner told him to go back to day 1 and start again. Not because he had failed, because he had learned. The man returned to the ritual, this time without expectation, this time with simple obedience. By day 60 of his second attempt, his manager offered him a leadership position. By day 90, he had launched a side business that replaced half his income. By day 180, he had left the job entirely. The ritual did not change. His expectation did. And when expectation shifted from magic to law, results followed. The eighth and final component of the ritual is the evening anchor. This happens before sleep, not in bed, but before bed. You return to the mirror or to your writing desk. You rewrite your definite chief aim one more time by hand. One sentence, the same sentence. This repetition is not redundant. It is reinforcement. The subconscious learns through repetition, and the act of writing by hand engages different neural pathways than typing. The motion of the pen across paper, the formation of each letter, the physical act of creation, all of this deepens the imprint. After you write the aim, you speak your 11 lines again, not 3 repetitions each. 1 repetition each is sufficient in the evening. The purpose is not to install. The purpose is to remind, to seal the day, to send the subconscious into sleep with a clear instruction. Then you review. You look at your tracking sheet. You mark whether you executed the rhythm that day. Yes or no? No. Judgment. Just data. If you executed, you feel the satisfaction of alignment. If you did not, you feel the friction of drift. Both are useful. Both are information. And information, when used correctly, becomes adjustment. After the review, you close the notebook. You turn off the light. You lie down. And as you drift towards sleep, you do not scroll. You do not watch. You do not consume. You visualize. You see yourself executing tomorrow's high-value action. You see it completed. You see the result. You feel the emotion of accomplishment as if it has already happened. This is not fantasy. This is pre-paving. This is the final instruction to the subconscious before it takes over for the night, and the subconscious works while you sleep. It solves problems. It makes connections. It prepares you for the next day. But it can only work with the instructions you give it. If you give it worry, it will amplify worry. If you give it vision, it will build toward vision. Choose carefully what you feed it in those final moments before sleep. Now let me address what you are thinking. You are thinking this sounds exhausting. You are thinking you do not have time for all of this. You are thinking your life is already too full, your schedule already too packed, your responsibilities already too heavy. Let me speak to this plainly. You do not have time because you have not taken time. You have given your time to everything and everyone except the person you are becoming. You check your phone within minutes of waking. You scroll before you plan. You react before you create. And then you wonder why you feel powerless. The ritual I have described takes less than 30 minutes in the morning and less than 10 minutes in the evening. 40 minutes total. You spend more time than that consuming content that does not serve you, attending meetings that do not matter, engaging in conversations that do not build. This is not a time problem. This is a priority problem. And the only way to solve a priority problem is to decide what matters most and protect it with violence. But let me go deeper. You may be thinking, what if I do not feel like it? What if I wake up and the fire is not there? This question reveals a fundamental misunderstanding. You are not waiting for the feeling. You are creating the feeling through action. Motivation is not the cause of action. Motivation is the result of action. You do not feel like speaking to the mirror, so you speak anyway, and halfway through the second line, the feeling arrives. You do not feel like completing the high-value action, so you set the timer and begin anyway, and 10 minutes in, momentum takes over. The man who waits to feel motivated will wait forever. The man who acts without motivation becomes motivated through the act. This is law. Test it. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm sounds and your body resists, do not negotiate. Stand, walk to the mirror, speak the first line, and watch what happens. The resistance will crack, not because you are strong, but because you refuse to obey weakness. Another voice may rise. What if people think I am obsessed? What if they mock me for standing at a mirror, for speaking to myself, for tracking my days like a machine? Let me tell you something that will free you. The people who mock your discipline are the same people who envy your results. They do not understand the connection. They see the harvest and resent it, but they never saw the planting. They see the success and call it luck, but they never saw the ritual. Do not explain yourself to them. Do not defend your practice. Simply execute it. And when the results arrive, when your income doubles, when your clarity sharpens, when your confidence becomes undeniable, they will ask you what changed, and you will tell them, or you will not. But by then it will not matter, because you will have become the proof. The ritual is not for public approval. It is for private transformation. Guard it, protect it, execute it, whether anyone understands or not. There is another objection, quieter and more dangerous. It whispers that you have tried things like this before, that you have started and stopped, that you have committed and quit, that this time will be no different. This voice is the voice of past failure trying to govern future action, and you must silence it with one simple truth. The past is not predictive unless you allow it to be. Every day is a new decision. Every morning is a clean slate. The fact that you quit before does not mean you will quit now. The fact that you drifted before does not mean you will drift now. You are not the same person who started and stopped. You are the person who is starting now with the knowledge of what caused you to stop before. And that knowledge is power. Use it. Identify what broke the rhythm last time. Was it lack of accountability? Build the mastermind. Was it lack of clarity? Write the definite chief aim. Was it lack of measurement? Start the tracking. Was it lack of belief? Speak the 11 lines. The ritual addresses every point of failure. It is designed to hold when willpower fades. And it will hold if you execute it without negotiation. Some will say, what if I do not see results in 90 days? What if I execute the rhythm and nothing changes? This question assumes that results are only external, income, position, recognition. But the first and most important result is internal. It is the result of proving to yourself that you can commit, that you can sustain, that you can govern yourself when no one is watching. That result is worth more than money, because once you have proven you can build one habit, you can build any habit. Once you have proven you can command your morning, you can command your life. The external results will come, but they come to the person who has already changed internally. And internal change happens first, always. So do not measure success by the bank account in week 8. Measure success by whether you executed the rhythm in week 8, because the rhythm is the cause. The income is the effect, and effects lag behind causes, sometimes by weeks, sometimes by months, but they never fail to follow. Plant the seed, Water it daily. Trust the law. The harvest will come. Now let me speak to scarcity. You may be thinking, I cannot afford to take an hour for high-value action. I have bills to pay. I have obligations. I need to work. I need to hustle. Let me tell you what hustle without strategy produces. It produces exhaustion. It produces motion without progress. It produces years of effort with nothing to show. The high-value action is not a luxury. It is the only thing that matters. It is the 1 hour per day where you build the asset, the system, the skill, the product that will eventually free you from the need to hustle. If you do not protect that hour, you will work forever. If you protect it, you will work for a season and then command for a lifetime. The choice is yours. But do not confuse activity with accomplishment. Do not confuse busy with productive. Most of what you do in a day does not matter. It is noise. It is reaction. It is maintenance. The high-value action is the signal. It is creation. It is the thing that moves you from where you are to where you intend to be. Protect it. Schedule it. Execute it. Even if it means saying no to someone. Even if it means disappointing someone. Even if it means letting something else slide. This hour is non-negotiable. And finally, the deepest objection, the one that hides beneath all the others, the belief that you are not capable, that this works for other people but not for you, that you are too broken, too late, too far behind, too unqualified. Let me destroy this lie with one fact. The ritual does not require talent. It does not require charisma. It does not require connections. It requires decision and repetition. That is all. If you can stand, you can execute the ritual. If you can speak, you can execute the belief. Ritual. If you can write, you can execute the ritual. There is no prerequisite except willingness. And willingness is a choice, not a gift. You are capable because you are human, and every human has access to the same laws, the law of thought, the law of repetition, the law of belief. These laws do not discriminate. They do not favor the educated over the unschooled. They do not favor the young over the old. They favor the obedient over the disobedient. And obedience is available to anyone at any moment, including you, including now. So I say this with the force of absolute conviction. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are not disqualified. You are simply standing at the beginning of a path that others have walked before you. And if they walked it, you can walk it. If Carnegie could rise from poverty to command steel, you can rise from your current condition to command your aim. If Edison could test 10,000 times and still believe, you can execute 90 days and still believe. If Ford could face mockery and still build, you can face doubt and still build. You are not different. You are not exempt. You are subject to the same laws, and those laws will work for you if you work them. But you must begin. And beginning means standing at the mirror tomorrow morning and speaking the first line. That is all. Do not think about day 90. Think about tomorrow. Execute tomorrow. Then execute the day after. One day at a time. One ritual at a time. One decision at a time. And 90 days from now, you will look back and realize that the person who doubted is no longer alive. That person died in the repetition, and the person who commands took their place. Let me now describe the system of ownership that will emerge from this rhythm. You have been trading time for money. This must end. The goal of the ritual, the goal of the high-value action, the goal of the microsystems is to convert your hours into assets that generate income without your constant presence. This is the shift from labor to leverage, and it happens in stages. In the first 30 days, you are still trading time, but you are building the first system, a template, a process, a checklist, something that makes your work faster, cleaner, more repeatable. In the second 30 days, you refine that system and build a second one. Now you have two assets, two things that reduce friction, that eliminate reinvention, that allow you to do more with less. In the third 30 days, You take one of those systems and you offer it to someone else. You do not give it away this time. You sell it, even if it is only for $50, even if only one person buys it. You have now crossed the line from time selling to value selling. And once you cross that line, you cannot unsee it. You begin to think differently. You begin to ask different questions. Not how many hours can I work, but what problem can I solve that people will pay to have removed? Not how do I get a raise, but how do I create an offer that scales? This shift in thinking is the beginning of wealth. Let me show you what this looks like in motion. A man works in customer service. He handles the same complaints every day. He notices patterns. People are confused by the same three things. So he writes a simple guide, 2 pages, clear language. He tests it with 10 customers. 9 of them say it solved their problem immediately. He refines it. He shares it with his manager. The manager asks if he can share it with the entire team. He agrees. 6 months later, the company is using his guide as the standard. They offer him a small bonus. He realizes something. If this company is willing to pay for this system, other companies might be too. He packages the guide. He creates a 1-page sales sheet. He reaches out to 3 other companies in the same industry. 2 of them buy it, $50 each. It took him 3 hours to build. It has now generated $100 while he was asleep. That is leverage. That is ownership. That is the beginning of freedom. And it started with 1 hour of focused work, 1 problem identified, 1 solution built. Now, scale this. What if every week for 12 weeks you built 1 system? What if at the end of 12 weeks you had 12 systems? Some will be internal, tools that make your own work faster. But some will be external, tools that others will pay for. Even if only half of them are sellable, you now have 6 assets. 6 things that can generate income without your direct labor. And if each one generates $50 per month, that is $300 per month of income that does not require you to show up. That is $300 of freedom. And that is just the beginning. Because once you understand the mechanics, you can build bigger systems. Systems that sell for $500. Systems that sell for $5,000. Systems that serve 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. This is not fantasy. This is the path every builder has walked. They start small. They prove the concept. They refine. They scale. And within 2 years, they are no longer trading time. They are trading systems. And systems, when built correctly, scale infinitely. But this only happens if you protect the high-value hour, if you execute the ritual, if you refuse to drift. The world will offer you 1,000 reasons to abandon the rhythm. A meeting will be scheduled during your high-value block. A crisis will emerge during your morning ritual. A friend will ask you to skip the mastermind call. You must say no, not rudely, not with explanation. Simply no. This hour is protected. This rhythm is law, and law does not bend for convenience. It bends for commitment. The man who protects his rhythm will build wealth. The man who abandons his rhythm for every request will remain busy and broke. Choose which man you will be. Choose today. Now we arrive at the close. You have received the 6 movements. You have received the 8 components of the ritual. You have received the cycles of 30, 60, 90 days. You have received the measurement system, the mastermind structure, the microsystem framework, the path from time to ownership. You have received everything you need, not everything you want. Everything you need. Because what you want is ease. What you need is discipline. What you want is speed. What you need is rhythm. What you want is certainty. What you need is faith backed by action. And faith backed by action is the only force in the universe that cannot be stopped. It does not require permission. It does not require perfect conditions. It requires only decision and repetition. And you are capable of both. So I ask you now, not as a teacher to a student, but as one builder to another, Will you execute? Will you stand at the mirror tomorrow morning and speak the 11 lines? Will you protect the high-value hour? Will you measure your days? Will you build the systems? Will you join or form the mastermind? Will you refuse to quit when the resistance rises? These are not rhetorical questions. These are diagnostic questions, and your answer will determine everything, not your spoken answer, your executed answer, because the world does not listen to what you say. It watches what you do. And what you do tomorrow will either confirm that you are serious or reveal that you are still hoping for an easier way. There is no easier way. There is only this way, the way of rhythm, the way of discipline, the way of daily execution, the way of law obeyed when no one is watching. This is the way of the wealthy. This is the way of the free. This is the way of those who command rather than serve. I will now speak my oath to you, and then you will speak yours. I am sent to govern myself. My word directs my path. My habit seals my fate. My value commands my income. I do not chase wealth. I summon it through wisdom. I do not beg for opportunity. I create it through service. I do not wait for permission. I grant it to myself through decision. I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. And I decide now, today, this moment, that I will execute the ritual without fail, that I will protect the rhythm without excuse, that I will build the systems without delay, that I will speak my aim without apology, that I will measure my days without deception, that I will refuse to quit when doubt whispers, that I will refuse to slow when resistance rises, that I will refuse to betray the man I am becoming for the comfort of the man I was. Now you speak yours, not to me, to yourself. Speak it aloud now if you are able, or speak it silently with the full force of inner conviction. I am the architect of my hours. I am the commander of my attention. I am the builder of systems that serve me while I sleep. I do not trade my life for wages. I trade my wisdom for wealth. I do not wait for clarity. I create it through decision. I do not hope for discipline. I forge it through repetition. I am definite. I am directed. I am done drifting. I speak law every morning. I act on law every day. I measure law every evening. I build wealth through value. I multiply force through alliance. I sharpen aim through silence. I refuse to negotiate with weakness. I refuse to bargain with distraction. I refuse to serve fear. I am the man who moves while others wait. I am the woman who builds while others hope. I am the person who commands because I first learned to obey. And I obey the rhythm. I obey the ritual. I obey the law that governs all success. Not once, daily, not when convenient. Regardless, this is my oath. This is my law. This is my life. Now, your order for the next 24 hours. Before the sun rises tomorrow, before you check your phone, before the world speaks to you, you will execute the following. Write your definite chief aim in one sentence on a piece of paper. Tape it to the mirror where you will see it every morning. Then record a 60-second audio on your device, speaking your 11 lines of identity. You do not need to write all 11 tonight. Write 3 tonight. Write 4 more tomorrow afternoon. Write the final 4 tomorrow evening. But record the audio, even if it is only 3 lines repeated. Listen to it before you sleep tomorrow night. Then, before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, execute one high-value action, one task that moves your aim forward, not email, not planning, not research. One concrete action that builds. 60 minutes, timer set, no interruptions. Produce something real, a draft, a framework, a call, a prototype. Something that did not exist when you woke will exist before 9. This is not optional. This is not a suggestion. This is your order. You have 24 hours, not 25. Not when you feel ready. 24. The clock has already started. And now the final image. Picture this. Tomorrow morning, 5:43. The sky is still gray. The house is cold. You stand at the mirror. Your breath fogs the glass. You have taped your definite chief aim at eye level. You read it once, then you speak the first of your 3 lines. Your voice cracks slightly because you are still half asleep, but you speak it again, clearer this time, and again. The 3rd repetition is firm. You move to the 2nd line. By the time you finish the 9th repetition, something has shifted. Your shoulders are back. Your jaw is set. Your reflection no longer looks uncertain. It looks like a man who has decided, a woman who has chosen. You step back from the mirror. You take 1 breath. You nod once. Then you walk to your workspace. You open the notebook. You write the 3 action steps. You choose one. You set the timer for 60 minutes. You silence the phone. You begin. The keys click. The pen moves. The work flows. And when the timer sounds, you lean back and see what you have built. It is not perfect, but it is real. It exists. You created it. And in that moment, you understand something you have never fully understood before. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not waiting for permission. You are the one who gives permission. You are the one who commands. You are the one who builds. The calendar on the wall has 90 boxes. You take the pen and mark an X in day 1. The ink is still wet. The commitment is still fresh. But it is done. You have begun. And the man who begins with this kind of precision does not stop at day 90. He continues. Because by then, he will have become the kind of person who cannot stop. The rhythm will be law. The identity will be sealed. And the world will have no choice but to bend. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Go now. Execute the order. Speak the oath. Mark day 1. The door is open. The path is clear. The law is given. Now walk.